Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Critical Reactions with your host, Bryan. Today we're going to check out a fairly popular request for a fairly lengthy song. Of course, we're checking out Dream Theater, you know that from the name of the video. The requesters that you have to thank for this reaction. We got Citrus, Avenged Soul 6661, David Schaefer, Rupam D. Luffy, Christian Bon. I really like how that's spelled. Nick DeBartolomeo. So sorry if I butchered that. Andrew Sitek and Lace or Lassie Keldorf. And there were a couple of songs that were requested, but by and far the most popular is Octavarium. And simply clicking on the video on YouTube pretty much told me why it's popular. It is sitting at 23 minutes and 58 seconds. That is a long time to listen to a song. That is the length of an EP. That is the length of some pop albums. There's no way to preface this sort of auditory sensation length. So let's just get into it. Alright, we got these light synths coming in. Got a very sci-fi guitar tone going on. I'm really digging the delay that he's got going on there. Alright, we have a little bit of themes of like discovery and some suspense. We got some growing tension in the chord progression. That takes guts. That takes guts. That's a 4-minute intro that really didn't go anywhere. And just as fast as we had the momentum and rising tension appear, we brought it right back down. Really interesting resolution right there. I really dig that.
I never wanted
5.5 minutes for the first word spoken.
someone like him, so secure, content to live each day just like the last. I was sure I knew that this was not for me, and I wanted so much more, far beyond what I could see. So I swore that I'd never be someone like him.
More really interesting progression resolutions.
So many years have passed.
Lots of tension, and actually the resolution, I say that because it's the ending of the progression itself, but it's actually not resolving anywhere. There's a lot of leftover tension when the chord progression repeats itself.
My aim and my vision so secure, content to live each day like it's my last. It's wonderful to know that I could be something more than what I dreamed, far beyond.
They refuse to let this tension find rest.
Still I swear that I'm missing out this time, as far as I could tell.
Okay.
There's nothing more I need.
Something was really interesting there.
Still I ask myself, could this be everything? Then all I swore that I would never be was now so suddenly the only thing I wanted to become, to be someone just like him.
Ooh. Yeah. yeah. You know what's interesting though is that this is, to me, coming off more as a rock opera than a standalone song in itself. Or I guess not, more of a rock opera than a rock song or a prog song or anything like that. It's more theatrical. Yeah, the drumming and bass work together, it's just real strong synergy there, and they got these really nice syncopation ideas going on. Really digging it. Really interesting that a lot of the words, the visualization is like a falling down. To be medicated is to lie down, letting your consciousness leave you would be, lying down to die. And through that whole thing, his melodic line basically falls. A little bit of a rise and falls again. Yeah. Do 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 do. Almost has like a dreamscape feel to it. Like a person thinking to themselves, a lot of mental imagery being stuck within one's own minds. I really like the keyboard work. I don't like the wah on it. I don't think it fits with the rest of what's going on. Real solid playing all around. It's just the tone I'm not a big fan of. Got a lot of driving energy now though. I mean, this part it's obviously different from the past, 10 minutes or whatever. But it also has a lot more driving force to it. There's a lot more momentum here. All that sluggishness has gotten out of the song and we're moving. bit like an organ tone going on now. So we had a tempo shift, a time signature shift, and some tone shifts in the instruments. Really interesting. And I think I have heard a Dream Theater song before. This part reminds me of... I can't remember what it's called. I swear it's a Dream Theater song though. Yeah, a lot of really cool rhythmic things going on here to match the odd meter. This riff, something, panic attack? Is that a Dream Theater song? I don't know, I might be grasping at straws here. I like it how he's using his vocals to accent the downbeat of each bar, well, the first beat of each bar, and it creates this judder to kind of go along with the uneasiness of what's going on in the story. Okay, they were just having fun there. Ooh, that is some clean, muted playing. And the fact they're doing a duet on it and the drums are matching that intensity back there. And we got some sort of bells in there now. Ooh. Massive tone shift. We got something jazzy going on here. Did they seriously just put that in there? I'd have to go back and listen to it real quick, but that was a children's nursery rhyme. I'm pretty sure.
Deadly sins feel his mortal wrath. Remove all obstacles from our paths. Asking questions, search for clues. The answer's been right in front of you. Try to
They got like a classic monster movie music going on in the organs right now. Even he kind of sounds like he's kind of emulating that kind of narrator sounds.
Try to escape, but to no avail. The calls of admirers claim they adore. Drain all your lifeblood while begging for more. Innocent phantoms of merciless crimes are prey to some madman's impulsive designs. Step after step, we try controlling our fate. When we finally start living, it's become too late. Trapped inside this Octavarium. Trapped inside this Octavarium. Trapped inside this Octavarium. Trapped inside this Octavarium.
That single break for when he says "the" before Octavarium, that was genius. Spark of genius. That is not where I thought that progression was going. It's interesting that he says we move in circles, and then we're using a lot of the stuff from the beginning right here. Almost like the songs come full circle. The song's definitely taken on more of an epic vibe than it started out on. And I think it gives a lot of weight to what's been going on in the narrative. I don't think the song had any choice but to kind of expand and take on all the features that they've decided to implement. It has to end this way. It has to end this big. And there definitely seems to have been some kind of triumph in the story, because this is ending on a much lighter note than it started on. Yep. All right. So it kind of goes without saying that didn't feel like 25 minutes long. That song just it it's definitely the other end of the spectrum from a lot of the prog we've listened to this week, which is about encapsulating a moment or encapsulating an emotion. And this one is more about telling a story through the concept of rhapsody. I don't believe there was a single repeated section. There was theme. We brought back ideas from previous sections, but we never completely revisited. We never had a verse or chorus or any sort of repeated musical idea going on. It was very much a rhapsody where we went from the beginning to the end, and the song evolved uh, how it naturally kind of does without any sort of patterns or repetition. And it's interesting we call that a rhapsody in modern day music because when you look at classical music, that's just what it is. Um, the songs progress and use theme and variation to kind of represent melodic ideas to give the song a unique identity um, without actually repeating any sections. That's just kind of how classical music is written. That's just kind of a staple of that kind of writing, and it's interesting that when that writing is applied to modern day music, we actually have a special name for it. Like it's out of the ordinary. But yeah, so this song, I don't even know if I can really go into detail and talk about it too much. Um, Anything I say is just gonna fall under this thesis umbrella. The song's a masterpiece. It does everything right. I don't think any piece of it needs to be changed. I think the song would be lesser if anything was changed. I don't think there's anything you could do to amend this song to make it greater. Even the part that I didn't like too much, which was the synthesizer tone in the third section, where it had a wah effect to it, I still don't think it really fit with the song where it had been. It definitely fit in to some of the later sections, although interestingly, that wah sound never came back. We got some organ sounds. I think the synthesizer was used, or the keyboard was used for like string sounds as well later on in the track, but that wah sound never returned, even though I think it would have fit better with some of the elements closer to the end of the track. But I still don't think it would be wise to remove it or change it because it would alter a key identity of the track. That section would fundamentally be different with a different tone, and like I said, I don't think changing any piece of this would make it better, even if I don't specifically agree with any specific part. If I were to write that, I would not have used that tone for the piano, um, but I don't think any of it should be changed. It Mostly because from a first time listen, there's probably things I'm missing. There's probably a very key reason why that tone was chosen, especially since it wasn't repeated. It's not like you could say it's just a favorite tone by them or by the keyboardist. Maybe it's just one of his presets that he uses, and he just works it in every song. I don't feel like any of that uh, uh, gives the reason of why it was chosen. I think it was chosen for a very specific reason for that very specific part, um, and I'm sure it's a good reason if I ask the keyboardist or if I listen to it a few more times and kind of got a better feeling of why things were where they were and how things were chosen. But yeah, um, it's just a I don't even know if I could say it's a good song and be happy with that statement. It is a great song. Um, it's just everything works together. When the drum and bass are present, they are just working with each other and being a single rhythm section machine. They just work in tandem so well. Um, The guitars, it's just they have such a wide selection of tones that they've created with pedals and effects and amps and cabinets and all that stuff, and they use all of them to great effect. They're virtuosos on their instrument. They don't really showcase it that often, but there was that one extended section, had to have been, it felt like a minute easy, of just this rapid fire tremolo playing, palm muted, real staccato stuff, duet, and just like staying in the pocket, both of them just sitting in there. It's just real tight playing. Um, and then even the singer, even though the singer really doesn't show much range, until the end when he busts out that weird like snarl yelling screaming kind of thing, um, which is very interesting and unique. I will give that to him. It caught me off guard, but the singing is rather unvaried, and but it's still just real solid, and it fits with a lot of the tone that's going on. The song is mostly about, thematically, it's mostly about these different ways of interpreting this single emotion. Um, and a lot of the song has this creeping unnervingness to it. And I think that keeping with the tight range, basically the range of notes that he sings for the most part of the song, are not very wide. He kind of sticks within the same octave, octave and a half. Um, but it fits in. It's kind of like when you talk monotone all the time and it just seems unnerving because people don't do that. I think it kind of fits in that way where the music itself is unnerving, and to sing for so long and not really change it up at all kind of adds this tension, this uh, oddity to the vocal pattern that just fits in with a lot of the themes of the song. Um, And like I said, it's not like he doesn't have any range. Um, he definitely hit some higher notes closer to the end. He did some vocal distortion at the end. He's to me it seems like he has chops. He just wasn't showing them off because the song didn't call for it. I wouldn't mind seeing how high he can go or how low he can go, seeing kind of what his range is if he does any other sort of distortion or screams or anything like that, just out of pure curiosity. But I don't think it would change my opinion of him as a vocalist because he seems to do exactly what the song needs, and I think that is a lot better. That's a better sign of being a good musician overall, but a good vocalist as well. Than being able to sing high or low or putting these crazy runs in to your vocal flourishes and stuff like that. Being technically impressive isn't as great as doing what the song needs. Um, I think that's a sign of a strong musician is understanding what's appropriate for the song and sticking with it. And I think he did that in spades. Uh, yeah, just it impresses me how much they could fit into this. I know we're talking 24 minutes. That is a long time to listen to a song. But it's also really impressive to see all of the different kinds of tones and textures and sounds that they can pull out of what I'm going to assume is the same five or six instruments. The bass was present mostly throughout. There's a keyboardist of some sort. He might have played a real piano at some point, or maybe even a real organ. But I'd wager to say that a lot of it was sampled. Um, and then the bassist, at least one guitarist, possibly a second guitarist, and a vocalist. Um, but despite only having those few instruments, it felt like there were two or three dozen instruments just because of the way that they're constantly changing the tone of their instruments. And I think there's definitely uh, there's a mastery to that. It's I don't think you could put it on the same level as maybe like musicianship. Well, actually, you could actually because it's definitely a trial and error thing that you have to practice at. to be able to find these tones and maybe even at one point just kind of intuit what you want and to create it. Um, and I'd say that this is one of those bands that knows exactly what sound they want and they know how to get it. And that's not something that you just pick up overnight. That's something that you end up a skill you pick up with through trial and error, through a long period of time, to where you can know you hear a sound in your head and you can recreate it, um, even if you're using the same instruments. I mean, for all I know, they could have switched guitars. They could have different guitars for different tones, just because of the pickups and the strings and all that stuff. But they're still using a guitar to create all these different textures and tones and these variable soundscapes. I mean, every section sounded wildly different, and that's just really impressive all in its own. That is a skill set that you don't typically see. You usually find that bands and musicians in general find a tone or maybe a couple of tones that they really enjoy, maybe like a clean and a couple distorted, and they just kind of stick with those. They work with what they know, and these guys can just zero in on something that fits exactly the sound that they need to tell the story that they want to tell. So yeah, really impressive. Virtuosos all over the place, top to bottom, every aspect of it. Um, yeah, real good stuff. That's I think that's about all I got to say about Dream Theater. There's probably a lot more I could if I went back to for a second listen, but off the top of my head, I mean, I'm trying to remember 24 minutes worth of music. Off the top of my head though, that's really what sticks out to me is their ability to find the tones and write the music and perform the music that specifically fits each section of the song and kind of fits into the overarching themes of the track. Um, oh, I do want to touch on that one thing though. Like 6 or 7 minutes, maybe 10 minutes into the song, there was a part where the singer was singing about letting his consciousness fall out or get away from him, and something about coming down and lying down. It was a lot of visual ideas and metaphors about down. Falling asleep and these ideas of falling down and what he was doing with his music. He was also going down these steps. Da 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 da, kind of like this descent. And there's a term for that, and I can't think of it off the top of my head, but it's when the music matches the elements in the lyrics. Like if you would say, first he's saying high, then he's saying low. Um, there's a term for that concept, and I can't think of it off the top of my head, but maybe I'll look it up and put it down in the comments. But he was exemplifying that very well, and it's not the only time it happened. It was the time that really stuck out to me. But there were a few times. Near the end, he says something about we've come full circle or something like that, and it was actually a part where they were using a lot of themes and ideas from the beginning of the track here as well. And the idea of the story coming full circle, but also the music coming full circle. So yeah, really, really intelligent writing, even in the lyrics, just all around real good stuff. So yeah, that's Dream Theater Octavarium. I'm really glad we finished this week on this. Um, Even though I'm starting to slowly get that appreciation and understanding of the slow burn songs, when I think of prog that I enjoy, this is the kind of stuff that I think of. Stuff that's ever changing, that's progressive in the means of, what can they do next? What elements of other music can they incorporate? Stuff like that. Something more in line with Between the Buried and Me, rather than something Tool-esque on that side of the spectrum, where they use the same, like, one or two ideas throughout the whole song. So, yep, that is Dream Theater Octavarium. Let me know what you guys thought of that if you've never heard of it before. If you have heard of it before, let me know of other Dream Theater songs. I think I mentioned something about Panic Attack. That's what popped into my head at that moment. There's a section in the middle I think the song's called Panic Attack. It reminds, and I think that's a Dream Theater song. Let me know if I'm right there or not. If so, I have heard a Dream Theater song before. That part really reminded me of what I think is called Panic Attack, and I'm like 50% certain it's a Dream Theater song. So actually, maybe my next thing should be Panic Attack because if that is a Dream Theater song, I'm at least kind of familiar with it, and I wouldn't mind revisiting it. It's been a long time since I heard that song. Maybe I'll do it even if it's not Dream Theater because I remember enjoying it. I'm rambling a bit here. All right, so let me know down in the comments about Dream Theater, your experience, what you thought of this song, if you even stayed for the full 24 minutes, because we're 41 minutes into this video, and, well, my YouTube analytics tell me that most people don't even watch like 20% of each video. So if you're still here, thank you very much. You're probably like one of 10 people. Let me know stuff down in the comments. While you're down there, like, subscribe, and ring the bell. I will be back next week with a Q&A video, as well as whatever the next week's theme is. I don't think I've looked at the polls recently to know what's even in the lead. So I don't know. It'll be a surprise for me too. All right. So yeah. Until next week, you guys have a fantastic weekend, and stay safe out there.